Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Mike. It's time for another chapter of Movies from A to Z. I'm a couple of days late. Actually, I tried doing this yesterday several times, and my webcam kept shutting off. So I think my computer is beginning to slow down. Aren't we all? But anyway, let's see if I can get it done this time. Before I start with the movie, there was a new issue of the Dark Side magazine out on your newsstands right now that you probably need to get. As you can see, it's got a cover story about The Exorcist, and I know a lot of you love that film, so you might want to pick this up. What got me to buy it was another article about one of my favorite horror films, The Uninvited. Just a terrific article, several pages long, lots of pictures about The Uninvited. So if you're interested in those particular topics, you might want to pick that magazine up. Letter P stands for Piranha, which I also have on Blu-ray. Thanks to my friend Dave Koenig, who sent this to me. Thank you, Dave. Okay, Piranha. This is a very well-known film, very popular, so I'm not going to go into great detail and keep the video short. But made in 1978, directed by Joe Dante, script by John Sayles, who also has a very small part in the film, and it was produced for Roger Corman's New World Productions. And it's just a great film. Just a terrific film. It's, I would call it a perfect combination of satirical comedy and some rather serious, grisly horror scenes. Now, of course, my standards about what's grisly and horrifying are a lot different than everybody else that I know. But it's about killer piranha, right? These are genetically engineered fish that have been made more aggressive and more hungry in order to, it was a military secret plot to infiltrate the rivers of North Vietnam so they could I guess, eat the population of North Vietnam. This film takes place in 1978, which is only a few years after the end of the Vietnam War. And this installation, this secret military installation, headed by sort of mad doctor, Dr. Hoke, played by Kevin McCarthy. It's still going on even though the war has ended. But so the piranha are let out of this big pool they're in. They're contained, and they're let into a river which leads to a lake, which has a brand new resort that's just opened up. It's called Lost River Lake. And even farther down from that, there's a children's camp. So all these people are in danger from the piranha. So that's the plot, and it gets pretty serious. Some serious blood going on the beach, and it's really creepy when it involves children. So, but it also has a lot of funny lines, a lot of comedy. Now, some of the actors, such as the top-billed actor Bradford Dillman, who is a terrific actor, very underrated actor, really. He and Heather Menzies, who is the female lead, they're working together to first of all find a couple of backpackers who have gone missing, and they have been eaten by the piranha, which they find out. And actually, Heather Menzies is the one who lets the piranha out. She's trying to drain this pool, right? She's an insurance investigator trying to find what happened to these kids. And she says, let's drain the pond. Okay, great. So she lets the piranha out into the river. So she's really the villain in the piece. Well, at least one of them anyway. But so the two of these characters are both playing it half serious, and also they have a lot of funny lines as well. So it's a nice combination. The banter between the two of them, they have a lot of funny situations, but a lot of serious situations as well. And of course, Bradford Dillman turns out to be the big hero in the film. And then we have a lot of people, a lot of the supporting cast. Kevin McCarthy plays it dead serious as Dr. Hope. Keenan Wynn plays it dead serious as a neighbor of Bradford Dillman's character. They both live out in the woods along the river. They're kind of loners, and don't want to be bothered by people. And then we have Barbara Steele, who is in a terrific supporting role. She plays it deadly serious. And there was a review in one of my books talked about Piranha, and it said that Barbara Steele manages to look as sinister as possible for no particular reason, which is true. She does it. She plays it completely straight, nothing funny coming out of her mouth. Then we have Dick Miller, who is one of the members of the Roger Corman regular cast, I guess. theatrical group. He's in so many films for Corman. I guess he's been in every film that Joe Dante made as well. And he's terrific. He's terrifically funny. He has a few serious moments in the film. He plays the guy who was the manager of the resort, and when he finds out the piranha are possibly swimming into the lake, threatening his livelihood, he doesn't want to hear it. So Dick Miller is terrific, and unfortunately, as everybody knows, he passed away just a while ago. He's going to be greatly missed. Who else do we have? We have Bruce Gordon, an actor who was well known for playing in The Untouchables on TV. He plays an Army colonel who is spearheading a cover-up, along with Barbara Steele, who is another military scientist. And they are both trying to keep this under wraps and not let everybody know what's going on. They've invested money in the resort, so that's another reason why they don't want anybody to stop their gravy train. And so he's playing it as a real strong general, but he has a lot of funny things that come out of his mouth where it's not supposed to be funny with somebody like this saying it, but it is because of the way the script is written. I mean, he gets to say things like, when they start poisoning the river, he gets to say things like, sometimes you have to destroy in order to save. And he does it with deadly seriousness, but it's satirically funny. And let's see, who else do we have? We have Paul Bartel, who is the Hitler-like head of the children's camp, who is running it like it's a Nazi concentration camp with these tiny little kids. But he is so off the wall that he is also very funny. And of course, at the end of the film, it's not so funny when all the kids are attacked by the piranha. And we have Belinda Balaski, I think she was in a lot of Joe Dante's films. I believe they were involved romantically for a while. She's a good actress. And Melody Thomas is also in it. They play the camp counselors at the children's camp. And Melody Thomas, of course, is well known for having gone on to be very famous as Nikki Reed Newman on The Young and the Restless, which is a famous American soap opera. The only one that I watch, the one soap opera that I watch. Great film. What else I want to say about it? They have a lot of interesting special effects of these stop motion figures. I'm not sure how they did it at all, but it's just really cool stuff that comes along. Good for cinematography. Very funny script, as I said, by John Sayles, and I think it's probably the best thing that Joe Dante ever did. I don't think he ever topped it, quite frankly. And the best thing about it is, well, okay, before I get right to the end, now everybody who knows me knows that I don't go for blood and gore and all this stuff, and it gets pretty grisly toward the end but even I have to laugh when we're looking at a beach, right, where the camera is panning over all these people lying. Some of them are dead, some of them are half dead, moaning and groaning, blood spurting out of them, blood all over the sand. And then we get to this nerdy-looking TV announcer who looks into the camera with the microphone and he says, Lost River Lake, terror, horror, death. Film at 11. You can't help but laugh when somebody's doing something that crazy. And then we get to the very end, and Joe Dante very wisely gives the last word to Barbara Steele. And of course, she plays this doctor who is still trying to cover up the truth about what happened and her involvement in it. So, and she's saying a few words to a TV commentator. And the last thing she says, with the camera focused in right on her beautiful but very strange face, she says to the world, there's nothing left to fear. And you know that she's lying right through her teeth, but she's, it's just what a pleasure it is to see a close-up of her face. She was about 40 years old when she made this film, and she looks terrific. She was very, very good in the film. Okay, so that's all I want to say about Piranha. Thanks for listening. Next week is the letter Q, and I mentioned a film earlier this week, maybe last week when I did a video, and I mentioned a film that I'm going to do next week. So I'm giving you fair warning. You might want to be out of town next week instead of watching this, Queen of Outer Space. But if you like this classic, be sure to tune in. Thanks for watching. And as usual, comments are welcome.